It's two conscious guys talking, where conscious male leaders come together and have a discussion that is deep, that is nourishing, that allows us to see the illumination of consciousness that's unfolding progressively for men that are waking up in the world, and where you can get insights on your own awakening as a man, and also for amazing women that want to learn more about men's challenges and struggles that have created some of the dysfunction we've seen within men in its society, often called, quote unquote, the patriarchy and other terms. What created it? What is the genesis of it all? What can we do about it today to empower men to be all that they're meant to be and to support the awakening of consciousness for men and women and all? Hey, Luke, good to be with you today.
Yes, I've just come fresh off a call with a super amazing human who runs conferences to empower people. So I'm feeling very energized right now, Daniel. I'm excited. I think we can hopefully inspire some of the people who are tuning in.
I'm very inspired too. Like I said, I had got a massage, got down by the lake and walked down there. It's beautiful here today. Nice, kind of cool weather, but kind of warm. You know what I mean? Like 70 degrees, nice, perfect sort of weather. Got lunch down by the river. Just awesome. Just so spectacular. And I just recently this week, I got a big download for what wants to happen through my purpose and mission going forward for next year. Maybe it's for the next 20 years. I don't know. It's that big of a vision. You don't even know about it yet. And I will not share it with many people until the time's right? But, super excited. These are potent times for conscious male leaders, spiritual entrepreneurs, whatever, all the different categories. We're all coming out. So it's a good time to be alive.
So guys, if you're listening, you need to go have more massages, walk by the river, hang out with high-powered people who are doing great things in the world. That's the secret to having a happy life, or one of the ways. There's many ways, but can highly recommend what Daniel's saying. You're making me want to get a massage.
Let's go right now. My wife, when she knew I was going today, she's like, I'm jealous. Can I take your appointment? I'm like, no, that's my appointment. You can get your own. Like, so anyway, that's kind of funny. But so yeah, all the things, that's one of the things I've been leading with a lot of these interviews lately with the mental health series is like, take care of yourself, guys. Like, we're going to keep bringing that to you. Yeah, get the massages. Take care of yourself. Eat on the healthy side, at least. Eat more minimally. Don't be picking yourself out all the time. It is not going to be good for you. It might feel good in the moment. Does not feel good overall. Creates all kinds of problems in the way you feel. Forget the weight and everything else for a sec. Like, just how you feel, like how you're able to be effective in life, and get to the gym, or do something. Get active, get into your activities. I was just talking the other day with a guy, Luke. Like, I'm like, yeah, get into the gym. I do the weight. I went last night. Like, I've been super busy. I'm like, nope, going to the gym anyway. Doesn't matter what I got going on. I'm going to the gym, and I went to play tennis this week. That was a real time commitment, because it takes some time to play some real tennis. So I'm like, super busy, doesn't matter. I didn't pay attention to the time I was out there. I'm like, I'm just having a good time out here in the sun playing tennis. This is heaven on earth. I don't need anything else right now. Do these things, and it's like the whole, seek the kingdom first. Seek the kingdom, or the state of the kingdom, so to speak, heaven on earth, right? Be with that, and let everything be added on to you. And that you get to that by doing things that take you to a higher state of connection. Luke, I know you're all about that. That's what you're helping the whole world do, through your work. And do that first, and everything else, you got to trust. Everything else will flow from there. You trust your spiritual connection with the source itself. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'm into biohacking. I like this idea of looking at ways we can create more efficiency and energy and in my book, I talk about optimizing our bodies, optimizing our minds, and optimizing our energies. And one of the things that a lot of guys don't get is your body, from my perspective, it's like a vehicle. It's like the most amazing technology ever made. Your brain is more powerful than any supercomputer. And your body, if you think about it like an expensive sports car, if it was like a Lamborghini, how well, if you just paid $250,000 for a car, how well would you take care of it? Now we have this amazing meat suit that we're in, and we don't take care of it at all, most people. And we're crazy, and we wonder why it breaks down. And so one of the things that we do, so I'm a quantum healer, and I teach people how they can heal themselves using these different energy techniques, using quantum hypnotherapy. And what I find over and over and over again, most people, their physical bodies, like they want to be healthy. It is trying, even when you keep putting the junk food in, even when you binge watch TV, even when you take all the drugs and the alcohol, like somehow, Daniel, I'm still alive. I have no idea how. I could have died so many times from the abuse I gave my body. And for some reason, there's a higher power, there's a bigger purpose. It didn't let me, and our bodies have this incredible ability to heal and regenerate, but we just have to give them chance to. And it's like if you have a Lamborghini and you start putting cheeseburgers in the gas tank, it's not going to work for very long, right? It's not the fuel for it. And we wonder why we have these breakdowns. And so if you are into that kind of biohacking or seeing yourself as a vehicle, if you like playing with cars and tinkering with engines and stuff, and if you got that kind of a brain, maybe you can just start to think about yourself more in that way. Look at, okay, well, what happens if I eat more fruit? What happens if I hang around with more inspiring friends? What happens if I actually exercise every day? Get curious about it. Start making those little tweaks, and things can change really quickly.
Oh yeah, huge, huge. I mean, just being around people that are more higher vibration, nicer people, loving people, people that really want to support you, that aren't in like to the news cycle of what's in the world all the time, which is old news already because it's already happened. So it's already ancient news. It's our like could be ancient news if we let it, right? Like that already happened. Like so why do we keep focusing? We're only doubling down on that result. Then let's just keep focused on what's happening so we keep creating. No. We have to go deeper than that. I love what you're talking about with the Lamborghini. Like, sometimes I'll say like the $1 million racehorse or whatever, like that kind of analogy too. Like, would you feed it a bunch of McDonald's and stuff and expect it to perform? Like, no, you wouldn't. You would never feed it like all that crap. You would feed it the best, highest quality things so that it would be at optimal performance. You would never do that with that investment, right? Yeah, we treat ourselves like we're nothing. Like, yeah, we're crap. What is eat crap? Like that's how we treat, even if it's unconscious and we're not thinking it consciously. That's basically what we're saying. And so it's like then you don't feel good, and then you wonder why. That's all part of it. It's all part of the equation. Now, I know there are people like I eat Twinkies every day. They done my blood levels are better than ever. It's because they're so intent on proving that you can be of high vibration and transcend everything that it can be pulled off. Now, long term, does it work out? I don't know. I haven't seen the long term studies. I suppose it's possible, but
There are studies. There are studies, Daniel. So I'm a big geek. So I just saw recently they did a study on rabbits where they gave them this super high cholesterol food, and when they would eat it, the rabbits would get really, really sick. Except for one group of rabbits, they fed them the exact same high cholesterol food, but while they fed them, they petted them and they stroked them and they gave them love, and just that piece of being in that loving vibration while they ate the really bad food stopped them from getting sick. And so there's an idea that as well as what you choose to eat, it's the way that you eat it. So if while you're watching a horror movie and there's screaming and violence and you're eating that's in the food and then it affects you, your body's in disharmony and so it can't digest it properly. If you are there and you sit with your food and you're in thankfulness and you're sending so much love to it, and you believe that pizza is helpful for you and you are, you're sending it just the purest love, apparently it's more healthy. Your body can digest it and break it down in a different way. So there's like three, I posted this on my social media recently. There's like 3 different studies they did with the rabbits to prove that cholesterol thing. So I think a lot of people, they're not conscious even when they do fuel themselves.
Yeah, that's where sometimes, when I'm like, okay, this is like my routine of how I approach my diet or whatever, or how I eat or however you want to look at it. But like I go to my mom's, all of a sudden she's like, I want to give you some food, with love. I'm not gonna be like, Mom, no, I'm on this regimen, like I might sometimes, but like mostly I give in. I'm like, okay, Mom, sure, I'd love to have some of that. Like, because because it makes her happy and then it makes me happy. And there's this vibration, there's this love. I'm not going over there every day. I mean, not like eating massive amount of food either when I go there. But like, yeah, it's fine, here and there. But yeah, most of us don't do well when we do that all the time. One way or another, start playing games like I pull this trick off. Yeah, eventually, if it's a trick, it probably won't work eventually. So at least that's my experience of those sorts of things.
Yeah, it's about not feeling guilty for the things we do as well.
Yeah, that's true.
In those emotions of guilt, that's a real trap that we get in. So I'm primarily fruitarian. I've got my watermelons here. That's what I love to eat. I've got, what did I eat earlier? I've got Pakistani mangoes I've just been eating, and I've been doing that for 5 years now, and that's what my body loves. It loves fruit, and different people have different ideas on what we should eat, but I do also occasionally order a big, large vegan pizza, and I just eat the entire thing to myself, and it's like fuel for my inner child. And when I do that, it just feels great. I don't have any negative effects, but I'm eating it from a place of, joy and innocence and playfulness. And it's like, if I ate that and I was beating myself up while I did it, I think it would negatively impact me.
Right, yeah. So yeah, definitely about your consciousness and how you're being and everything first, obviously, for sure, right? But it's not so obvious, otherwise we won't be talking about it. But so you just have to keep that in mind. And for sure. So are we playing? Are we, yeah, having fun? Are we doing things that are nourishing? Are we nourishing ourselves? Or are we just keep chasing, something that we say is important to us that, honestly, isn't really delighting us, really isn't our path, really isn't flowing for us when we're honest, right? So because I see that all the time with even spiritual entrepreneurs, and I've got caught up in it at times, like this is the thing I'm doing. And then, before you know it, you're like, yeah, I guess that's not right for me, or that's not my thing, or, but you have to, yeah. But it's not about beating yourself up. Like you said, like, oh, maybe I'm making the wrong choices. That's okay. It's part of apparently part of your path, part of the lessons or the things that needed to happen. God's trying to speak to you through that. That's kind of how I see those things.
Some people talk about this 80-20 rule. As long as you've got 80% healthy habits, you can be more relaxed 20% of the time. I'm more like 90-10. So 90% of the time, super healthy choices, 10% of the time, more relaxed. You notice I didn't say unhealthy, I didn't say bad, more relaxed. And so it's like I wouldn't go and consume poison on purpose, but I'll be more relaxed about what I do. And that serves me really well. It's like I talk a lot about in our quantum regression modality that we teach. We do inner child activations and inner child healings. Like that thing about letting loose and playing and enjoying and being curious. I've got a 3-year-old daughter and a 6-month-old daughter, and our 3-year-old, she's so curious and she's so playful, and it's very inspiring when you're around that. I think especially for the guys who are working long hours, stressed, trying to provide for their family. It's like, how much time are you making for fun? What one of my first teachers who taught me regression therapy, he said, schedule in every day at least 1 hour of me time. Like, schedule it in physically in your diary. This is my 1 hour. You can do longer, where I'm going to do something for me, whatever that is. And a lot of people, they don't even give themselves that, Daniel.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, that's where, just go to work every day, provide for the family. This is what we do, the hard work, pay off. And I think about somebody in our family who, works insane hours sometimes. And thank goodness, my partner in life, my wife, Deb, happened to see a good job opportunity for him. And now I guess he's going to do that work, and it's a lot less hours. I'm like, thank God. Like, the guy's, he was broken his back at the current job and everything because you're just like, well, if this is what I need to do, I'll do it. I'll do whatever, even if it breaks your body down. Like guys are, men and women do that, but yeah, guys, definitely will do that. Like do dangerous things, crazy things, not take care of themselves. It's like, guys, take care of yourself first. You'll make a better life for yourself and others for sure. Yeah.
I used to work in a big corporation. I worked for a $2 billion company. We had like 16,000 employees. I was a sales trainer, and then I worked up to being a sales manager. And it was really interesting because I was then in charge of this team of 10 people, and they would come to me with all of their woes, and I would get to see their psychology, and I would give them these meetings where I would try and help them to be the most productive they can be. And I got to see that most people in that corporation had serious mental health issues. They were sat in a box in a cubicle, staring at a screen, which is not natural, consuming. I used to drink 6 cups of coffee a day. It was crazy. I'd get home and I'd be shaking like this, and then I would go to the pub and have beer, and then I would have some
downers,
crazy food, and burgers and fries, and somehow I stayed alive. And then on the weekends, that would be where I would have my freedom, Friday night, and I would go and abuse alcohol to the point where I would get blackout drunk. I used to do martial arts and even MMA. Did cage fighting, and so I used to go out, and it was like my way of releasing was to go and be in a big club, get really drunk, maybe have a fight with someone. It's quite a like warrior thing, like young bucks like to bash antlers. And that was my dose of freedom. And then Monday would come around and you're back in the office with your suit and your tie, sat at the cubicle again. And it's just like in the Matrix movie, Daniel, like eventually I got to a point where I just said, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to work. Even though I've got a nice house and a nice car and I'm making good money, and I'm miserable. It's like, why are we even here? And when you can get to that point, that rock bottom point, it's actually a really beautiful place to get to, because you have to change. And most people don't change until they get really, really uncomfortable. And they just made a Facebook Live today sharing, like, don't wait until you get to rock bottom before you change. Change now. Like, shift now. Align with your highest timeline. Change path. Make some more aligned choices. Figure out a plan. And if you need to quit your job, quit your job. If you need to end your relationship, end your relationship. Don't do it from a place of chaos and create more trouble for yourself. Like, make a plan. Find a way to get out, to change, to create a side income, to do whatever it is that you can do. There's so many ways you can thrive. But most people are just never told that. They're told, go to school, get a job, work until you retire, save for your pension. And then you might have 10 years to go and enjoy yourself. But what do you get on a pension? You can barely buy food nowadays. Most of the people I see who are like 70 years old, they work in a supermarket on the checkout counters because they need to make extra money. And it's heartbreaking to see. And so everyone who's listening, please find a guide, find a mentor, find a teacher, find someone. If it's me or Daniel or whoever it is, like, make a plan, create a life that you love, start taking the steps towards that. Because when you do that, when you are thriving, you inspire other people to thrive too. And we can change the world in our generation. We can be the generation that ends poverty, ends homelessness, ends wars, if enough of us do it. And we're in this great awakening. It's a super exciting time to be alive, and you're all a part of it. So come and play. And this is what we're doing with our Q-RIT tribe. We're just finding the people who are on the similar mission. And it's been so good to meet you, because I see you're doing a lot of what I'm doing, and you are all about having fun too and lifting people up. I think there's many people who are open to it right now.
No doubt. Yeah, people are opening for sure. And so that's there's other people that might be doubling down on the other side, but the opportunity is always, like you said, when the pain gets to be enough, there's an opening there. And more and more people, the intention is, and the prayer is, and the knowing is, more and more people are going to choose to shift. Like, okay, I'm already like just a battery in the matrix. Somewhere, it's not like it's going to happen in the future, like it's shown in the movie. In a way, it's already happening now. We're already in the damn matrix. We're already just a battery. We're already like completely unconscious in certain ways, right? Some of us more so than others, maybe. We need to get in shift so we can be more like that Neo, especially the first movie. It's my favorite. Be that Neo in that first movie where you're fully awake and you're like, no, they shoot the bullets, and you just say stop, and they just fall to the ground. It's really that it is really like that. Like I intend something, all of a sudden everything changes when I'm clear about it. When I just in the energy, when I'm clear about it, when I let it just come through. And so yeah, everything is available to us increasingly right now. It always has been. It's just we have to wake up. So that's what I really love about the work you do. And yeah, talk about clearing up your mental health issues. That's where it's at, is realizing who we really are and waking up to that with, men and women. With guys, it's just we're in different, some of the patterns are a little bit different, the different quality to it in the collective. So, guys, yeah, like, I don't know what yours were. I mean, for me, I feel like because I was a sensitive guy, for me, it was more like, well, you're not much. So it really was like emasculating to me because I was a nice, sensitive guy, like as a kid, and then as I heard that more and more, then I'm like, I'm going to start really working out and, I'm going to show people I'm not that. And then people still see me that way. But then when they saw like what some of the things I was capable of, they're like, oh, I had no idea you're that strong or could do those things. And yeah, and so like it's this thing you gotta the on a physical level for guys more so you gotta prove yourself. You gotta be strong. Somebody might try to take you down at the club. Luke might be waiting for you back when he was a 20 or whatever, 25, whatever it was. Cage match time. I better be ready. Already, I was thinking of my counter moves and how I'm gonna take you down. I'm searching the perimeter. I'm thinking, what can I grab to knock him out? And whatever it takes, like it's a male psyche thing, like so when you're doing like I love this because that's a fascinating like Fight Club kind of vibes, you're talking about, so it's just fun to talk about and to
I
explore
used to
like
do that with my friends. We would get together and we would just fight each other, like Fight Club. We actually did that.
I knew it. I channeled that, like I'm just like, yep. It was like Fight Club. So I didn't
Makes you
have.
feel
Mhm.
make feel alive, and there's
Yeah,
now I class it as self-harm. I don't do it anymore.
right,
It's
right.
been 9 years since anyone punched me, and I hope no one ever punches me again. But it was one of those things where when you're so numb and you can find an experience that makes you feel alive. I used to go to the bar. I'm sober 7 years now. I used to go to the bar and I would get shots of straight vodka, and I just drink the shot of straight vodka because it gives you the chills and it makes you feel alive. But now I go into an ice bath instead. Now I go swim in a freezing cold river, and it's the same feeling. You're like, I'm alive, different way I found to have the similar feeling. And
There's so many different ways, right? Like even for me on the tennis court, like, all right, dude, I'm gonna I'm like I got smoked out the first set. Like I just nothing was working for me. I hadn't played in months. And the second set, I was like, all right, I'm getting embarrassed. It's time to turn it on. And then I ended up winning, but like on the very last, my very last serve, I was serving out the set. On my very last serve, I was just like, I hadn't had like an ace the entire time. That's how pathetic I was. So I hadn't really gone for it. I'm like, I'm going to ace this shit right now. Like, we're going to close this with ace. I ain't going to give it a chance to touch the ball. And sure enough, first ace, first like really good serve, not just a good serve, like boom. I'm like, done. And it's just that feeling like, that masculine energy, is potent. And I think sometimes when we go down the spiritual lane too, like that's like sometimes we're like, oh, well, all that Fight Club stuff's no good. And then we start maybe shying away or suppressing some of that, like, energy. That's not the way to be either, in my opinion. It's like all of it, all the yin, the yang, all of it. Let's bring all that juice into it. And there's all kinds of ways to feel alive as a human, as a man. And, there's so many paths. And so I'm glad you brought that up. There's so many examples.
Everything that happens in our life serves us. When I work with my clients, it's like, okay, why did that thing happen to you in your life? So that's like a warrior activation for me. So I have that intrinsically now, even though I don't need to use it, it's there. I know that I don't, it's just something in my energy and in my presence. And people don't try with me anymore. They just don't. And it's wonderful. And so if we lived in a tribe, I often think about tribes. I love studying tribes. And you think about the kind of roles that you would have, right? Some people would be the security, some people would be the hunter-gatherers, some would be the farmers or the builders or the medicine people, which is probably what I would be. And we would all have our roles we would play so the whole tribe can thrive. And the way that we work in our society right now, we don't have a role. We don't have something to like commit ourselves to. And so we get lost, and then we start my journey abusing alcohol and abusing drugs because I'm just lost and directionless. And the masculine loves a direction, whether it's to be amazing at tennis or whether it's to be an amazing mechanic or what. It's like to have something to channel ourselves into and become exceptional at is really fantastic. And a lot of the top chefs in the world are men. The top fashion designers are men, and it's not saying that men or women are better or worse than anything, but there's just this masculine thing about becoming an expert in your craft. And so again, that's not about your genitals. It's not about if you've got a penis or a vagina. It's like that everyone can tap into the masculine and the feminine energies. And when you integrate both of those, which is where I am, so when I do my sessions with my clients, I'm fully channeling, and today I did a session and I'm crying and it's releasing all of this beautiful stuff, and I'm getting these breakthroughs around how I can be even more loving in the world and create a more amazing life. And, it's so great. And then straight after that, now I'm preparing for our 2-day event we're doing tomorrow. And it's like, got to do this and this and this, and I'm getting all of the get the stuff done mode because we've got people coming who want to learn to be healers, and we're going to teach them. And it's like, yeah, but when I'm creating the container now, which is the very masculine thing, and once it's created, tomorrow I'll surrender and I'll deliver the training. And it's that unique blend I have of like warrior and monk and dancer and fighter. And it's a very cool energy that seems to have served me quite well in life. And so really honor your background, guys, wherever you are at, wherever you're from, whatever you've been. A lot of the most spiritual and powerful healers I know have been addicts, have been thieves, have been, on the dark side, have done things that they, would not do now with their current levels of consciousness. And even one of the guys who's on the public speaking circuit, I got to know, he was in a gang, he went to prison, he murdered someone. And while he was in prison, he found what he calls God. And now he goes and he works with the youths and he teaches them, like the young offenders, like to turn their life around before they get to that state. And they will only listen to him because he's been to prison. They wouldn't listen to someone who hadn't been that way. Mm-hmm. So the cosmos put him on this path where he needed that part of his story, so people will listen to him now. Mm-hmm. And so if you can learn to own your story, guys, whatever your story is perfect. Even if you don't think it is, no matter what unspeakable things you think you've done, you can always get redemption. You can always turn things around and use that wisdom and those lessons to help people. And I see it every day. And if you are one of those people who, we call it lived experience. If you've got lived experience with mental health. So I was sent to a psychiatric institution for 6 weeks. I was assessed. My wife was in a psychiatric institution for a year. And that experience makes us now able to sit with people who have serious mental health challenges, and they listen to us. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the 6 weeks, I was given my diagnosis. I was sent for assessment. I was only 10 years old. I was expelled from primary school for being too violent, and basically from a broken home. My dad left when I was 1 year old, and we had a lot of money issues. We were raised on government benefits, and so there's some hardship in the upbringing. There was a lot of love there as well. My mum's one of the kindest people you'll ever meet. There was a lot of trauma there too, and growing up around drugs and violence and different things. I arrived in the school system, conventional school system, and I just didn't fit in. And when I got expelled, the teachers and the doctors, they just advised my mum, we need to get this person assessed. Like he's got some psychiatric issue. So they sent me to this hospital, 10 years old, where these big guys in white come and pin you down if you misbehave. And I was in there with people who were schizophrenic and bulimic and self-harming, and was in class one day and someone just flips the table and starts having an outburst, and the guys come and pin them down, and a really intense place to be. But then I did lots of therapy sessions, and I learned that the conventional therapy they gave, it just didn't work. And I couldn't be honest with my therapist. I couldn't tell them I was having dark thoughts, or they would keep me in there forever. I was a very intelligent child. And so I learned that there has to be a different way. And that's now serving me again when I now help people. And you talked about these people who are unaligned. I'm very unconventional, very controversial maybe when it comes to mental health, because my wife had PTSD. She's had night terrors, panic attacks. Now she has none. You can heal PTSD with quantum healing. People who are suicidal, and in one session, we completely turn that around. So they love life. People with anxiety and depression, after one session, no longer being anxious. There's a testimonial on my YouTube channel of a 12-year-old girl who was crippled with anxiety. She had one Q-RIT session, one quantum healing session, and now she's a totally healthy, happy, normal 12-year-old girl. She had this fear of dying, Daniel, and no one was helping her with it. She was scared to be in the world because she thought she might die, which, is really easy as a child to pick up. And how many people in the world, and especially those of you who are listening, if you can write in the comments and let us know. We think there's a mental health issue. We think there's something wrong with us, but really there's a trauma there. Really there's a fear. Really there's something that was implanted into you, a belief when you were a child, or so often, especially with people with depression or anxiety, it's that you're living a life that's not aligned. You're in a job you don't love. You're in a relationship that's not serving you. You're eating stuff that's not good for you. And it's really as simple as connecting them in with the higher self, the quantum self, and saying, what do we need to change? And we literally make this aligned action plan of what to change. They go and they change it. The depression goes away because now they're living a life more aligned. And if any of you guys play golf, I use a golf analogy quite a lot. If you hit a really sweet stroke and the ball goes on the green, the ball rolls really smoothly. That's what it feels like when you're aligned. And if you hit the ball and it goes into the rough, it doesn't flow as well. It can still roll, but it's more challenging. That's where most people are at. And then some of us, we're totally unaligned and we're off in the trees or the bunkers, right? We're in a real chaotic place, and using that guidance scale. Like, do I feel like I'm in the green now? Do I feel like I'm in the rough? I'm actually in the trees. Like, do I really need to change my course? And it doesn't take that much to course correct for people. Sometimes it's just letting go of a trauma you had. Sometimes it's realizing that you don't have to do everything that your parents tell you to do. That's a big one, especially my wife's from Pakistan. And when you're Indian or in Pakistan, you're told you have to either be a doctor, an accountant, something like that. There's like 4 jobs you can be. And that is you're told that for your whole life, and they're miserable, and they take antidepressants. And I do a session with them, and it's like, what? Why are you a doctor? You don't even like it. What do you want to do? Right? It just takes one person to ask them that kind of a question.
Yeah, there's a lot of people from that culture, not just Pakistan, but other similar countries in that area, and even the U.S. is like that. A lot of families. Well, if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, or this or that, an engineer, then you're not really anything. And there's not every family is like that, but that's definitely a bug that's out there. This concept, that's the only way to make it. You gotta make the big bucks, really accomplish yourself. Do something respectable. Be someone that does real things. Something like that. These concepts, right? And what happens, this is a quick rant. God bless all the MDs, seriously. And I just have to say, all of them are just brainwashed anyway to give you a bunch of phony baloney stuff that, helps people. I'm not going to say it doesn't help, but a lot of brainwashing from the pharmaceutical companies, and not basically, and they do good things too. So both is true.
Very good at selling the pharmaceuticals. Yeah, well trained.
Yes, yes, very well trained, very well trained. They get a lot of those good lunches from the pharmaceutical reps, at least in the past. I think maybe that's changed some nowadays, but anyway, so yeah, I just find it all very fascinating. I fantasize because I know somebody used to be involved with those sorts of things, and when he was talking about the old stories, I was like, man, that would have been fun to be a pharmaceutical rep. It sounds like a lot of fun, but of course I wouldn't be for it today. It just sounds like a fun endeavor. You go in there to charm these doctors, tell them all these ideas, and feed them food, and they want to do something. It's like, maybe we should use their model. Like, why don't we start bringing food to people and breaking bread, and tell people what's possible in other ways? I mean, there's so many different ways you can do it,
That's
right?
exactly how the church and
Yeah.
religion indoctrinate people. I used to go to church on a Sunday, and the whole reason I went was because at the end you got tea and biscuits.
Right.
That was
My
what I
tea
looked
and
forward
biscuits,
to.
we're good.
That was it. That's how they hooked me as a child into church. Tea and biscuits.
It is used in many places. So, but anyway, okay, that's just a bunch of fun stuff. And so yeah, so I hadn't heard your story yet about with the mental health, and it's funny because I did an energy scan for you, tuning into you, and I picked up indirectly on some of this stuff, I think, but I didn't know exactly, I still don't, but like you told some of it now, like, yeah, that's heavy. Like, I was told when I was a teenager that I was bipolar with delusions of grandeur, because I said I could blow up things, I could move objects. Like, they're like, oh, very literally, the psychiatrist, very interesting, very interesting. And the next thing you know, they're saying I'm bipolar. That was the last time I ever brought that up to one of those type of people. I'm like, okay, they do not, they do not think that is a real thing. They're not awake to what I'm awake to. And so, okay, I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I was picking up on something. I didn't know what that was all about at the time, but I knew it wasn't crazy. I knew it wasn't an issue as far as what they said. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep that out. But yeah, I had depression, anxiety, suicide thoughts. I've had those for decades. I mean, there's still days when if I'm having a hard time, it's such a pattern in the back of my mind. It can be reactivated as just a thought. Oh, I wish I was just gone, or whatever. Like that feeling. And I'm like, oh, there it is again, my friend. And then maybe it disappears for a while again and shows up. Like, it's not the way it used to be. Sometimes I just be like, yeah, for hours or days, I'd be kind of in that depressive loop, and those ideas might pop in, and how am I going to do it? Thinking it through, and always like, yeah, it's totally stupid. I'm not doing that. I've never that serious, but like, I had the thoughts. I mean, it's real, because if you feel like you're a failure, like you can't measure up to do what you think you should be able to do, that's basically what and that you're too weird, you're too strange, you don't fit into this world, like all those ideas so many people have. You're not alone. And especially as a man, I definitely don't fit in as a man in this world, all those things. And I just had to come to realize it's good to be me. I wouldn't want to be anybody else. It's really good to be me. And that actually, maybe I'm a great, like you said, like, I feel like I'm a very good blend of different energies for a guy, right? Like, I'm not just John Wayne or something, like, I've got the masculine energy, I've got very feminine energy, I've got all of that stuff, everything you were saying, like all that stuff. And I'm happy when I embrace it. If I start judging who I am, of course, I would become sad. I will become heavy. I'll become, whatever. I could become suicidal. It's like no, it's embrace who you are. In fact, there's probably a lot of people that want to embrace aspects of how you show up in the world because they really love your energy. It's unique. It's different. That's to be celebrated. It's not to be put into suppressed, which was a big problem that I had, and I'm sure you couldn't relate, right? Like, it can't be that way. Don't be that way. Don't be too strong. Don't be too like this. Don't be too like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I study this system called human design, and it's a fascinating system. I've been studying it for 7 years now, and it's
Yep.
every human design reading I do with people, we are completely different. And there are other systems too. There's one called Gallup Strengths, and it lists your top strengths and what your personality types are. And no two people are the same. It is literally like that. And we drive ourselves insane by trying to be like everyone else. If you think about in the tribe, the people who are the warriors, if they try to be like the people who make the clothes, it's just not going to work, right? The people who are great at farming, they don't need to be like the people who go climb the trees, right? It's totally different. And so this is the game to play, to find our place in this game, in this world, and feel really good about who we are and shine our uniqueness. And this is one of the key things that's happening now, Daniel, which is why I call this the Great Awakening. This is one of the first times in human history where it's safe to fully express ourselves. And yes, you might get censored on social media. I had my social media accounts deleted in 2020. I had like 20,000 followers, and Facebook just deleted me because I was saying what you said about pharmaceutical sales reps and telling people that they have an immune system and they don't need to be scared, and they didn't like that.
Yeah.
And what they used to do is, if you were talking about that stuff, they would call you a witch and they would burn you at the stake, or they would put you in a psychiatric institution and lobotomize you. And even in my dad was diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was 5, and he was institutionalized and he was on psychiatric meds his whole life. And I don't believe he actually was schizophrenic. I believe he was, very gifted. And unfortunately, so many of the people who are in the mental health system, they are gifted. Another one of my family members was diagnosed with ADHD. And he was put on Ritalin. And one day he was just so upset and he said, please don't make me take these. I feel like I'm a zombie. And they took him off the Ritalin and he became a champion athlete. He became a boxing champion. He started winning athletics championships, like attention deficit disorder. They told him he had a disorder, but he didn't. He had so much energy. He would have been one of those hunter-gatherers. He would have been one of those, people chasing the zebra or whatever he's doing, right? He would probably have caught the zebra and carried it home by himself, right? And it's like we tell people that there's something wrong with them because they can't sit still in a classroom. If you're diagnosed with dyslexia, or you're told you're too sensitive or you're too loud or whatever, you probably have a gift there that just makes you not fit into this indoctrination system that we call a school. And part of the game is to unlearn the things that you've been taught. Let go of those stories. Let go of all those people who told you that you can't move things with your mind. I just literally made a post about telekinesis the other day, and someone tagged me in this guy's YouTube channel. His whole business is teaching people how to do telekinesis. He made a business about it. And he shows them, he has all these videos, he proves you can do it, he gets other people to do it, he has testimonials. And so who knows what's possible? Maybe you could have gone down that path, maybe you still will, who knows? Maybe you'll go through this program.
I've thought about it. I'm like, I don't think that's my thing to do. I could play around with that stuff, but it's not like a focus for me. But I have dabbled with it. I've taught people the entry into like how to allow such things to unfold. And so yeah, it's all kind of works the same way. It's like you just let yourself let it happen, basically. That's like you bend yourself, not the spoon or whatever, but yeah, sort of like that. Yeah.
Well, a couple of really great book recommendations, everyone, if you're into it.
So Luke's grabbing a book right now.
I've got 2 great books. So one of them is called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And it's in my top 10 book recommendations. It's basically the story of these gurus in India and what they can do. It's like instant healing, instant manifestation, literally teleporting your body. And it tells you in the book how to do it. And then there's another book called The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East by Baird Spalding. And this is from the early 1900s. This group of scientists who were skeptics went to India to study these gurus, and they ended up becoming converts and seeing, yes, these people really can teleport their physical body. They really can manifest from thin air. They really can go without food and go without water. And some of the gurus, even in the books, they don't have to breathe anymore. They've transcended the need to breathe, right? And it's phenomenal what happens. And they basically believe this world is like a game. It's a simulation. You can play with, just like in the Matrix, you can hack this reality. And in the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East, it literally tells you how to dissolve your physical body and how to teleport. So I know the theory, everyone. Haven't yet figured out how to put it into practice. But apparently there are people all over the world who can do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's a really cool time because with everyone can on your phone, you can start your own YouTube channel, just like that guy did, and you can go teach or learn. You could be in the middle of the Amazon jungle right now, go follow this guy's telekinesis channel, or come join our quantum healing, and we can learn how to completely transform the world. And one of my favorite stories, if anyone doesn't know about quantum healing, is Dr. Joe Dispenza, who was in an accident and broke his back and was told he would have to have these rods and surgeries and he would never walk again. And he just said no. He just refused the surgeries, went to his room, and he imagined using the power of his consciousness, his spine healing vertebrate by vertebrate. And after 3 months, he could walk again, no surgeries. And now he spent the last 20 years going around putting brain scanners on people and doing MRIs and proving they can heal from all sorts of things. And people go to his retreats in wheelchairs, and 5 days later, they can walk. No one touches them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just Dr. Joe Dispenza. I met another powerful quantum healer recently. He was at a similar event. It was a different teacher, seven-day retreat. And there was someone there in a wheelchair who hadn't walked for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
After a few days, they got up and they could walk absolutely fine. The power of our consciousness and our mind, what is possible, we are just scratching the surface, guys. And so these pharmaceutical sales reps who want to keep you safe, they do genuinely. They think that, you know, taking medications and putting me and my wife in an institution will keep us safe. And, you know, arguably it has its place in acute situations.
Mm-hmm.
But as a long-term solution, it's like learn how to use your superpowers. Come find the quantum people who can guide you. And I love helping people figure out their superpowers. And I know one of your things, Daniel, is the energy scanning, right? And showing people, hey, you have an energy body. You know, you're not just a physical being. And you teach people how to read energies and play with energies. And life is so fun when you start living from that place where you are not just a body, where you are an energetic being and everything is energy. And there's a story by one of my great teachers called Dr. Wayne Dyer. He was playing tennis as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he said there was they hit the ball and it was too far for me to reach. And I knew I couldn't get there, but I just willed it. And he said, time stopped. And I managed to get there and I returned the ball and I won the point. And he's like, it goes beyond physical comprehension. You can't explain how that happened, but you get these moments where you can hack the matrix.
Absolutely.
So you can play with those things.
You can literally slow down your reality and move forward 1,000,000%. I've seen, so, you know, this is part of what I would teach my students. You know, you know, different things you can do, like anything. Like, even what do you want to see happen? Okay, let's go about it. Just all you have to do is just decide, like, oh, I want to see that happen. That'd be fun. And it's almost that simple. Like, just a little bit more guidance, and you're gonna be there, guys. Like, it's so simple. Like, even if you just believe what I just said, like, if you just decide, like, I want to experience this. This is happening. As long as you hold presence just long enough, and sometimes it's just a second, a moment in an eternal now. But yeah, if you hold presence long enough, anything can happen. I remember when I started, you know, playing with the chimes in my office to make them move on their own. Like, it was an instant because my belief wasn't there. You know, my alignment wasn't there yet. But just for a few minutes, all of a sudden, ding, ding, ding. You know, put it on video and everything just to show people what's possible. Like, yeah, but the thing is most people, unless they actually start experiencing it for themselves, they'll tend to think it's just trickery, right? So that's why more and more people, I love that people are teaching that, because people have to realize it's real. And once you start getting really connected, you realize you're sovereign with God, you're sovereign with source. And, you know, there's nothing that can touch you, you know, when you're in your sovereignty. Like, there's so much as possible, because there's a lot of despair that, oh, the world's going to shit. Like, we're all going to be AI bots. They're going to make us integrate. They're going to make us do this. They're going to make us shit. Forget that. You know, to claim your sovereignty, everything's possible, guys. So yeah, so to come with to teachers like Luke and myself, going forward, I do a lot of business coaching, but I got new things coming, and everything's available to lift your energy and rise above and to do whatever it is you want to do. And there's no limitations to what's at least available to us, what's possible, right? So yeah, so I love everything you're sharing. And yeah, it's almost like with all this stuff happening, it's just sort of squeezing us into this like higher consciousness, like, okay, it's time to finally to give it up and to get really connected and discover we're fully awakened right now, right? It's really, really amazing times.
Mm, it is. And because of the internet, everything's changed. So when I was a young child, I had to go to the library to learn about this stuff, and the people who print the books could control the information. But now it's very difficult for them to control the information. We can talk about anything. No one can censor this. Podcasts, we can talk about literally anything. It's so cool. And people, like I said, in the Sahara Desert can come and learn meditation from you or from me or whatever we want to teach.
Right.
And anyone can start it. You can go Facebook Live right now and share what's on your heart. Now, you might get your Facebook account deleted, so you might have to then go to YouTube, right? learn how to play the game if you're being on the edge, but you could get a Telegram channel and then it's totally uncensored.
Right.
And so this is a little game that we're playing right now as more and more of us speak our truth. First, you have to find your truth. So my book's called Find Your Truth. And then we teach people how to speak their truth. And once they do that, everything changes so quickly because you can ignite the spark in other people's hearts. It's like there's a saying that one candle can light a million candles. Like that, the fire in your heart can ignite the fire in someone else's heart. And now this is why it's growing exponentially, this truther movement, and people are seeing through all of the illusions. And there's this idea that we are moving into this golden age where the light wins, and with the light thrives for a while. And what we've been in before was the age where the illusions were winning, and now it's this different level in the game or different chapter in the book. And so yeah, if any of you are excited about coming and playing with us, come join the tribe and find the people who have the bright eyes, find the people who have the open hearts, find the people who you can be yourself around, who don't judge you, who don't try and make you be any kind of way. Because that's the rich soil that people thrive in. And that's what we do with our daughter. We try and as much as we can, and we're not perfect with it, but we try our best to do something called conscious parenting, where we allow her to be herself. We don't try and put our beliefs onto her as much as possible. And it's a tricky thing sometimes to play with. And you just see she's blossomed into this most incredible being where she feels seen and she feels heard, and she knows that what she says is important, and we value her as a being. She doesn't need to be a certain way for us to love her. Right. This is the medicine, this next generation of children that are coming through. It's why I'm so passionate. I have this education company. I run seminars and workshops and retreats and courses and everything, go on podcasts, anywhere where people will listen, because we can be the generation that transforms this world, and we are that already.
Absolutely. Amen. All right. So I'm sure some people definitely are going to be interested in connecting with you and learning more about your work and everything. Where are places they can connect with you? Not sales pages necessarily, but where can they at least, reach out to you and start connecting?
Yeah, absolutely. You can come and find me on any of my social media channels. My name is Luke Scott III, I like Roman numerals. I've got a free meditation I can give to anyone. If you just message me and you say you came from Daniel's podcast, I'll give you a free meditation. Or you can head to my website, which is quantumregression.co.uk. So if you head to quantumregression.co.uk, you can find out all about me, all the info. And if you want to come play, I love playing with people who get that this is a game. I love playing with people who know that life is made to be enjoyed. I love to play with people who are thriving. And if you're not at that place yet, if you're not thriving, if you are still taking life very seriously, we can help you to get there if that feels fun for you. Because most people take life way too seriously. I see it See it. There's this meme. I love memes. I don't know if you're into them. There's this picture of this wolf, and he's walking around on two legs, and he's pretending to be a human. And he says, "I'm a human. I pay taxes. I'm depressed." And, it's like it's imitating us, and that's how unfortunately so many humans are. And that's where I was, and I totally see it. And I'm so glad someone shook me awake. And you can help people to reconnect with their truth. And you never know, just by smiling at someone that no one smiled at all day, or giving that person a hug, or genuinely asking someone how they're doing, you can make all the difference.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Amen. So, all right, well, Luke, deeply grateful for you always, and eternally, I want to say, and just very, very fun and powerful and illuminating having these conversations with everybody, and especially you today. So I really appreciate you being on today.
I appreciate you as well, brother.
Thank you for listening in to Just Two Conscious Guys Talking, where our mission is to impact millions of men ultimately to deepen their awakening by examining their consciousness of what's been unfolding for them with male stereotypes and programming that has allowed them to have opportunities to evolve during these times. It's an exciting time to bring more love to men and women around the world, and we are grateful for you tuning in today. Feel free to share this episode and keep tuning in, and also look in the show notes for a link to get notifications of future episodes. Until the next time, everyone, goodbye for now.